Hey guys, my name's Iris and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I've actually been wanting to start a channel for some time now, and since it is the summer after my senior year, I figured why not go for it, right? So pretty much my content is going to be a mix of lifestyle videos, travel vlogs, and also my experiences as a college student since I'll be going to college in the fall. And in today's video, I'm actually going to be covering how I got into Carnegie Mellon, which is the school that I'll be going to in the fall. And keep this sweater, actually. I got it from the bookstore. It's super cute. But yeah, I'll be going over my stats, ECs, essays, why I chose the school, and also some advice for anyone interested in applying. Also just general advice for any rising seniors out there who are just starting out their college application process. And yeah, I'm going to be leaving timestamps in the description box below if you guys want to skip ahead to any specific section. But before we dive in, definitely make sure to like, comment, and also subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. And let me know what other video ideas you guys want to see from me. But yeah, without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my background. So I actually have everything pulled up on my computer right here. But to start off, I'm Asian American from Long Island, New York, and I went to a public high school, and my graduating class is around 600 people, so I would say it's a relatively large school. And our school is also pretty competitive, especially academically and in terms of the major I applied for. So I applied to Carnegie Mellon as a business major through the Tepper School of Business, and yeah. Okay, so diving into my stats, so my GPA was a 98 out of 100 since my school uses the 100-point scale. And I'll be completely honest, my GPA wasn't really the strongest part of my application. I did have like a couple of B pluses sophomore year. And ideally, if you're gonna apply to a school like Carnegie Mellon, you want your GPA as close to 100 as possible, which is equivalent to like a 4.0 GPA. But I think for me, it definitely helped that I was able to show an upward trend in my academics. So my sophomore, junior, and senior year, I had all A's and A pluses. So it helped show the college that wasn't really a reflection of my academic abilities, and maybe sophomore year might have just been a rough patch. So if your GPA isn't perfect, definitely don't stress about that too much. And you can also balance that out with a really good standardized test score or also your AP scores as well. So on the topic of AP scores, I took 9 APs in total throughout high school. So in 9th grade, I took AP World History, and in 10th grade, I took AP Human Geography, with the rest of my core classes being honors classes. And then 11th grade, I took AP Lang, AP Pre-Calc, and AP US History. And then in 12th grade, this year, I took AP Calculus BC, AP Chemistry, AP Microeconomics, and AP Comparative Government and Politics. For AP scores, I didn't have one for my AP World class because my school actually splits up AP World into 2 years. So sophomore year, I ended up switching over to Human Geography instead of continuing with World History, which is why I don't have a score for that. But I'm going to put all of my AP scores on the screen right here if you guys are interested. And then for the SAT, I took it twice and I got a 1520 on the SAT. Okay, so moving on to extracurriculars. So the Common App lets you list up to 10 activities, but I only chose to put 8 on there just because I felt like it was better to show actual meaningful activities than just put 10 just for the sake of filling up the slots. Okay, so my first extracurricular that I put was a nonprofit that I was the founder and CEO of. So basically in this nonprofit, what we did was we built a website and used this website to help promote and bring more awareness to other student-led nonprofits within our community. So nonprofits that my fellow peers were also trying to start. And at the same time, our website would serve as a hub for the community to access opportunities that these nonprofits had to offer. Like some of our nonprofits focused on tutoring or providing music lessons or volunteer opportunities, so things like that. I feel like this extracurricular really helped me stand out in the application process because the idea in itself was pretty unique, and it was able to show Carnegie Mellon that I was innovative and able to think outside the box, and also that I was willing to take initiative within my community. And on top of that, we also had a lot of measurable impacts, such as working with nearly 20 different organizations and also raising over $1,500 in funds. One of our highlights was we hosted a large-scale expo event that had around 200 to 250 attendees, and it was super successful. We ended up bringing a lot of awareness to a lot of these nonprofits, and it was just a super fun event to attend in general. And I would say that aside from the metrics, just the whole process of planning the event, marketing, learning how to design a website from the ground up, collaborating with a diverse range of organizations, as well as leading a group of 10 people on my team, was something that I was really able to expand on within both my personal statement and supplemental essays. It also, I feel like, emphasized my willingness to collaborate with others in order to produce unique ideas, which is something that CMU really emphasizes. I also worked really closely with my principal and my superintendent throughout this whole process, and as a result, my principal actually wrote a letter of recommendation for me, which also I think helped me stand out in the application process and also helped to back up the work that I described. Okay, so the next activity I put was varsity swim team. So I was on my high school's varsity swim team for all 4 years of high school, and before that I'd been swimming for over 8 years. Swimming has been just a really big part of my life in general, so I wanted to put this activity higher up because I dedicated a lot of time to this sport, and it's also something that I'm really passionate about as well. Okay, so my next activity was a marketing internship that I did during my junior and senior year through my school's internship program. And it was at a nutrition and health center, and what I did was I would make social media advertisements for them on both Instagram and Facebook, creating posts and videos that would help bring in new clients. I also noted that during my internship, I received a stipend for my work, which was a video ad that helped bring in a lot of interested clients. Okay, and my next activity was actually a club. So I was part of a club in my school called Student Curriculum Committee, and we would work directly with student government, department heads, basically people who would write curriculum, and also school administrators. So our goal was to help foster positive change within our school's curriculum, and one of our initiatives was integrating more diverse perspectives within history classes through student-led research projects. And I had a leadership position in this club as well, so I was the co-chairperson, and I would help run meetings, manage timelines, brainstorm initiatives, stuff like that. And I really think that since this club was really unique, it's not really a typical club you would find in a school. I think that also helped me stand out, and also the mission behind our club showed that I embodied curiosity even beyond the classroom. Okay, and then my next activity was music. So I've been playing piano for almost 10 years, and I actually stopped right before high school, but throughout high school I was also playing the viola. So I was in both my school's chamber orchestra and chamber music club, and the chamber orchestra specifically I had to audition to get in, and I did that for 2 years, and then I did the chamber music club for 3 years. I was also an all-county and LISPA festival string player, and for our chamber orchestra we actually got invited to perform at the NYSSMA Winter Conference up in Rochester, New York, and also we got invited to compete at ASTA, which is a national orchestra festival, where we ended up winning the national championship. I wasn't able to include that at the time because we hadn't competed yet, but we ended up going in March, and it was a super amazing experience. And then my next activity was work that I did over the summer, teaching kids how to swim. So I actually did this my sophomore and junior year summers, and I'm also doing it this summer as well. So I ended up coaching around 15 kids over those 2 summers, from complete beginners to kids that needed stroke clinics for swim team. And I actually did this in my own pool, so it was super convenient, and this was honestly just something that I really enjoyed doing, and I just did for fun, so I wanted to mention it on my application. And then my 7th activity was club swimming that I did. So I did this outside of varsity season. So I swam for a club team called Express. during 10th and 11th grade, and I competed at some meets. I got a few accolades, I think, but it wasn't really like super unique or like a standout activity for me, so I'd put it towards the bottom. But nonetheless, I did dedicate a lot of time to this. I mean, we had practice like 6 times a week for 2 hours every time. So yeah, I still wanted to mention that. And lastly, I volunteered at a local nonprofit, tutoring kids in math and English. So this wasn't really a huge part of my application, and I only did this for a couple weeks during my sophomore and junior year, but I still wanted to mention it just because I think it also shows like my dedication within the community and my willingness to serve my community as well. Okay, so now we're going to be talking personal statement and supplemental essays. So my personal statement is kind of long. I don't really think it would be beneficial to read the whole thing to you guys, so I've attached a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. But to summarize, I wrote about my love for Minecraft, since it was like my favorite game growing up as a child, and I talked about how the game's creative mode inspired my passion for entrepreneurship, and also how failing in Minecraft taught me the importance of experimentation and learning by doing, and that sometimes you can't really plan for everything. And I would say for the personal statement, I would highly recommend starting this as early as you can, because at least for me, I changed my idea like several times, and I even scrapped a draft completely just because it didn't feel right. And a lot of the times you have to go through multiple drafts and ideas before finding one that clicks. You need to give yourself the time to rummage through and just try a bunch of ideas before you find the one that sticks. Okay, so for Carnegie Mellon specifically, there were 3 supplemental essays, and I'm going to be reading out all of these essays since they weren't too long, and I think it's really beneficial if I read them out to you guys. And I'm also pretty proud of the essays that I wrote for this. So the first question was, what passion or inspiration led you to your major? I opened my notebook to a crinkled page, half filled with words waiting to come alive. As I settle in for the next few hours, I prepare to let my imagination transform strokes of graphite into vivid stories. From a young age, I immersed myself in writing, jotting down ideas during any spare moment. The boundless freedom and joy of creation fascinated me. I recall a particular time when I wrote a story about a girl and her friend who, while trick-or-treating, find themselves in an unexpected situation, only to solve the crisis that brings them back full circle. I became engrossed in complex characters with unique perspectives, developing the story's suspense and engaging readers with unexpected plots. This early passion for writing evolved into my love for entrepreneurship. Crafting a narrative is much like the challenges of developing a business idea. It's a tedious process demanding patience and experimentation, but I embraced trial and error. I discarded a dozen storylines before finding one that resonated, each iteration helping me realize my vision. Different aspects of building a product, like the characters I create, embody a facet of my personality. My creativity emerges when I devise innovative solutions. My leadership shines when developing strategies, and my resilience is evident when overcoming setbacks. Writing continues to inspire my entrepreneurial journey, creating the roadmap of where I've been and where I'm headed. At CMU, I'm eager to engage with the Schwartz Center for Entrepreneurship programs, like Project Olympus, leveraging resources like EIRs, Spark grants, and networking opportunities like Global Entrepreneurship Week to advance my entrepreneurial ventures. The center's interdisciplinary focus will allow me to collaborate with students from diverse disciplines, an environment where I'll thrive due to my open-mindedness and leadership. Akin to writing, CMU will support my visionary journey while broadening the premise of my character. Okay, and then the second prompt was, many students pursue college for a specific degree, career opportunity, or personal goal. Whichever it may be, learning will be critical to achieve your ultimate goal. As you think ahead to the process of learning during your college years, how will you define a successful college experience? A successful college experience means going beyond simply understanding more about the world. It involves exploring unique queries that push the boundaries of knowledge and deepen my engagement with learning. While already progressing in this skill set inside the classroom and through everyday interactions, I look to further enhance it in college. During a conversation with Professor Motley, he revealed that he views himself not merely as an instructor, but as an educator who inspires curiosity. Observing his approach in the Intro to Entrepreneurship class, where students were encouraged to formulate distinctive questions, aligns perfectly with the type of learning environment I seek, one that will push the limits of my intellectual curiosity. I also aspire to embrace new ways of thinking, particularly in how business intersects with technology. My fascination with technology and future-oriented mindset drives me to integrate my creative instincts with cutting-edge tech education. CMU's unique approach to business, exploring how science, data, and AI advance humanity, will provide me with a fresh perspective on the ever-evolving landscape of the modern world. Entrepreneurially, I aim to benefit even more people by leveraging my innovativeness through startup programs and competitions where I can raise capital and network with professionals. At the Schwartz Center, opportunities like the McGinnis Venture Competition and CMU VC will teach me to take my entrepreneurship to new heights. Finally, I'm excited to build a community of people to connect with like-minded individuals and learn to exchange ideas. In AMA, I will meet other business-minded students through case competitions and societal impacts. As we navigate the business world together, their unique perspectives will enrich my understanding of the world. Looking ahead, I'm excited to embrace new challenges and experiences, ready to apply my personal development for the betterment of society. Okay, and then for the third prompt, it was consider your application as a whole. What do you personally want to emphasize about your application for the admission committee's consideration? Highlight something that's important to you or something you haven't had a chance to share. Eventually, I landed on the idea of using my Chinese heritage and my American upbringing as a gateway into my critical thinking skills and also my ability to think from multiple perspectives before making judgments. Though I'm American by nationality, my ethnicity is Chinese. My teachers call me Iris, but my family knows me as Sisu. With my American friends, I've learned to chew with my mouth closed, but at home I could burp freely without anyone batting an eye. As I grew, I not only became accustomed to navigating both worlds, but also learned to embrace a diversity of perspectives. I particularly remember lessons in American history, celebrating figures like Lincoln and Roosevelt. When I eagerly shared these stories with my parents, instead of affirmation, I was met with skepticism. My parents offered alternative perspectives, ones my textbook didn't mention. At the time, their devil's advocate role frustrated me. Why couldn't they just agree with what I was learning? But over time, I realized they weren't trying to contradict me. They were teaching me the value of critical thinking. I learned to seek out a nuanced perspective, realizing that history is rarely simple and that every narrative has layers. Conversations like these became dinnertime rituals and instilled in me a new open-mindedness that I carry today. I love connecting with people from different backgrounds and learning their stories. Behind every face lies a narrative that I'd never know just from surface-level interactions. Understanding how others perceive the world, influenced by their unique backgrounds, fascinate me. It doesn't just make me more well-rounded, it introduces me to new ways of thinking. I'm excited to bring this mindset to CMU's vibrant, diverse community. I look forward to engaging with my peers and professors, each of whom will offer me new perspectives and insights. I want to continue learning how to think critically and assess situations with nuance, knowing that life isn't black and white, but exists in shades of complexity. Okay, so those were all my supplemental essays, and now I'm going to be talking about the reasons why I chose Carnegie Mellon. So I actually applied to Carnegie Mellon early decision, so it was obviously my first choice, but I'm just gonna list out the top 3 reasons why I chose the school. So the first reason was location. So I really wanted a city environment, so I didn't really want a traditional college town. And CMU is right in the heart of Pittsburgh, and it offers tons of opportunities outside of campus. And this is great for networking and internships, especially since I am a business major. On top of that, Pittsburgh is pretty safe, relatively compared to other cities, and safety was also a big factor for me. Second reason was student size. So CMU has around 7,000 undergrads, which is pretty small compared to a lot of other schools that I was applying for. And the student to faculty ratio is also really good. I'll put the actual number right here. But I really wanted that individualized attention and being able to actually know my professors. And the last reason was the program itself. So CMU's business program is actually ranked number 6 in the country, so that was a pretty big thing. And also they really emphasize the integration of business and technology, and they even offered a concentration in AI and business, which I thought was super unique, and I hadn't really seen anything like that in other schools. And I just really liked the idea of learning business through a more data-driven and tech lens. Obviously, since CMU is pretty known for like computer science, I felt like going to the school would help me gain a lot of knowledge in that field. And also, I genuinely do believe that the future of business is tech-driven, and CMU would be the perfect place for me to explore both of those interests. Okay. And then some advice for applying. This honestly goes for any university in my opinion, but the first thing is definitely do your research. This was super important, and colleges, CMU, any college, doesn't matter, but they want to see students who genuinely care about what the school offers and are genuinely interested, and they don't want an applicant that's just applying for the sake of applying. So you really want to do your research, do it thoroughly. Go on their website, look at what they have, the resources and opportunities, and really use those in the supplemental essays. Being a qualified student isn't enough. Like, you have to show that you fit within their community, you're gonna contribute, and at the end of the day, colleges are businesses, so they want to admit students who are gonna make meaningful change. The next thing I would say is definitely talk to students and professors. So for me, I reached out to 2 CME students, and I was able to find them through the website. So there is a place for student ambassadors. So if you go onto there, you can find their contact info and get in touch, whether that's in person or over the phone. And this really helped me learn a lot about clubs, academic life, student life, etc. Also cold emailed professors and asked if I could meet with them and have a chat, as well as like come in and observe their class. And I think this also really helped a lot because I was able to add real authentic substance into my supplemental essays, as you guys might have noticed before. And lastly, I would say branding yourself. So applications are all about the way you present yourself. It's all marketing at the end of the day, and you really want to focus on impact and results rather than just titles. And so instead of saying you were the president of this club or you were the founder of this organization, you really want to mention specific metrics that are measurable and also the impact that you were able to make. But yeah, I know I mentioned a lot of stuff there, so if you guys want me to make a video on how to cold email professors, as well as the template that I used for that, or how to get started on writing essays, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll try to make a video on that. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole CMU application journey. I think I got pretty lucky since I applied early and got in, so I was pretty much done by December. But I really hope this helped you guys gain any insight into how I approach my college applications. And if you are a rising senior and you're applying, best of luck, you got this. But if you do have any other video ideas for me, definitely let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for staying till the end. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.